What if I told you a small group of people who looked like they had absolutely no chance actually won against a much bigger and stronger army? Not just survived, but won. Sounds impossible, right? But this really happened. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how they did it, and you might even see how you can do the same thing when life feels unfair. Imagine this. You're standing on one side of a huge field. Next to you are your friends. There aren't many of you. Now look ahead. There's a giant army. Way more people. Better weapons. Louder. Stronger. If this were a game, you'd probably say, okay, we lost before we even started. And honestly, most people thought exactly that. Because everything looked impossible. But here's where things start to change. The smaller group didn't try to fight like the bigger army. They didn't say, let's be stronger than them. Because they knew they couldn't. Instead, they asked a different question. What can we do better? And that question changed everything. Instead of copying the big army, they made their own way of fighting. They moved quickly. They stayed flexible. They didn't stand in one place waiting to be attacked. It's like when you play a game against someone bigger than you don't try to overpower them, you outsmart them. Now here's something really clever. The smaller team didn't choose a big open field to fight. Because in an open space, the larger army could spread out and use all its strength. That would be a disaster. So instead, they picked places that were harder to move through. Narrow paths. Uneven ground. Places where it was easy to get stuck or confused. Imagine trying to run in a crowded school hallway during break time. You can't move fast, right? You bump into people. You slow down. That's exactly what happened to the big army. Their size, which was supposed to help them, actually made things worse. But wait, this is where it gets even more interesting. Let's talk about the leader of the smaller group. Because when things look scary, people get nervous. They start thinking, what if we lose? And once that thought spreads, everything can fall apart. But their leader didn't let that happen. They stayed calm. They spoke with confidence. They made everyone believe we can win. And belief is powerful. Think about it. If you believe you can do something, you try harder. You don't give up easily. You stay focused. And that's exactly what happened. Now the battle begins. The big army expected a normal fight. They thought the smaller group would come straight at them. But that didn't happen. Instead, the smaller group surprised them. They attacked quickly, then disappeared. They hit one side, then moved to another. They never stayed still. It's like playing tag with someone who keeps changing direction. You can't catch them. And the big army started getting confused. They didn't know where the next attack would come from. And confusion is dangerous. Because when you're confused, you make mistakes. As the battle went on, something strange happened. The big army, which started off confident, began to feel unsure. They weren't in control anymore. They were reacting instead of leading. And that's a big problem. Because when you're always reacting, you're always one step behind. Meanwhile, the smaller group was getting stronger. Not because they had more people, but because they were winning small moments. And small wins build confidence. Then came the most important moment of all. The turning point. The big army hesitated. Just for a second. Maybe they weren't sure what to do next. Maybe they were confused. But that tiny pause? It changed everything. Because the smaller group saw it and acted immediately. They didn't wait. They didn't doubt. They moved forward with full confidence. And once they did that, the big army couldn't recover. Here's something really important to understand. Even though the big army had more people, they couldn't work together properly. Too many people. Too much noise. Too much confusion. It's like trying to organize a huge group of kids without a plan. Everyone starts doing their own thing. But the smaller group, they worked like a team. They trusted each other. They communicated. They moved together. And that made them stronger than they looked. Now let's talk about something most people don't notice. The battle wasn't just about fighting. It was about what was happening inside people's minds. The big army started feeling scared. They didn't understand what was happening anymore. And when people feel scared, they stop thinking clearly. They panic. They make bad decisions. But the smaller group, they felt the opposite. They felt confident, brave, focused. And when you feel that way, you make better decisions. You stay in control. And that's what helped them win. Finally, the battle came to an end. And the result? Everyone was shocked. The smaller group had won. The battle that looked impossible wasn't impossible after all. And people started to realize something very important. Winning isn't always about size. It isn't always about strength. Sometimes it's about thinking differently. Sometimes it's about staying calm when things get scary. And sometimes it's about believing when no one else does. Now think about your own life. Maybe there's something that feels too hard. Maybe there's a challenge where you think, I can't do this. Maybe you feel like you're not strong enough, smart enough, or ready enough. But remember this story. The smaller group didn't win because they were the best. They won because they used what they had in the smartest way possible. They didn't give up. They didn't panic. They didn't try to be someone else. They stayed focused and believed. So here's the big lesson. You don't always need to be the strongest. You don't always need the most help. You don't always need everything to be perfect. Sometimes you just need to think differently. To stay calm. To keep going even when things look impossible. Because impossible doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means no one has figured it out yet. And maybe that someone is you. If you enjoyed this story and want more amazing lessons like this, check out the next video and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.